So here's this story. It caught my attention. I had to share it. Headline: I quit Amazon after 2 months. Okay. Young man named Navdeep Singh, a 25-year-old software engineer. So now listen. This is a white-collar job. This is not a warehouse job. And those stories are just unbelievably brutal. This is a white-collar job. So I want to just touch on a couple things here in the story, and then I'm going to tie this to those of you who are stressed out of your mind. Well, what do we do about this? What are your options? It's because poor leadership is creating this. So he goes into this article and he says, look, I was aware of Amazon's reputation as a stressful place to work, but after reading all the posts on Reddit, Blind, and other outlets, I assumed it was the worst cases being reported. Okay, now here's why I read that. I am also a person that I'm very suspect if first of all, I don't go on Reddit. That is the slum of society. Reddit is full of people who are unhealthy and have too much time on their hands. Okay, if you're on Reddit, I apologize. Please don't take that personally. But Reddit is a bulletin board of unhappy people. It just is. And so I can get some information from Reddit, but I wouldn't spend all my time there. However, as you look at all of these sites and you see a pattern of the same complaint over and over and over again, it should be a red flag to you. Maybe I don't want to take a job at Amazon, but this young guy does. He takes a flyer. He's like, okay, we'll try it. So his first day of work, first day. By the way, this is in the Hall of Fame of bad bossery. Okay, this right here is Hall of Fame level bad bossery. His manager says, I'm slammed. We're all under it right now. Try not to ask me any questions. What? Now, I'm old enough and experienced enough that if that was said to me, I'd literally been like, I'm out. I'm literally quitting right now. If a leader looks at you on the first day and says, listen, I'm underwater, we're a little bit slammed, it'd be great if you didn't ask questions. We have now entered into a dumpster fire. You have literally said, I would like a job here, and I know that the dumpster is on fire, and I'm okay being burned. That's mind-numbingly awful for a leader to say that. Now, let me just say quickly, before I move on. It's a horrible thing for the leader to say. It's awful. But can I also say I have some empathy for the leader? Because that statement is made out of sheer pain of just trying to survive. I got 3 teenagers. Good Lord, pray for me. I'm in the middle of it. I mean, hello. Parenting is the hardest freaking job in the world. But parenting teens is impossible. So there's a little bit of sunshine for all of you young parents out there that feel like you're exhausted with little ones. Wait till they're teenagers. Oh, it goes from being the most difficult job in the world to being impossible. I'm kidding, sort of. But I am victim, and every parent of a teenager is a victim of a teenager saying something in the throes of hormonal emotion that they don't mean. I mean, teenagers can say awful things. Am I right, parents? Awful things. They don't mean it, but it hurts anyway. And it's just, it's so emotional, hormonal, and they say just awful things. But as a dad, I can now understand there's something going on, and it causes us, if we don't process emotions properly, all of us have the ability to say something that is wildly damaging. So, all that said, that leader is in such a stressed out, squeezed position that leader would say something like that. So is that leader responsible? Yes. But there's also somebody responsible above that leader because desperate people do and say desperate things. All right. So I have a little bit of empathy. So he gets assigned a mentor, this guy. So if the leader's already said, hey, try not to ask me questions. Then he gets assigned a work buddy. Isn't that cute? Isn't that sweet? That's awesome. I think of that old doll when I was a kid. I'm a child of the 80s. Bob, you probably remember the My Buddy. It was like a doll for boys. And it was named My Buddy, right? My buddy and me. It's all coming back to me now. Thank you very much. The singing, by the way, was bonus content today for you. But he gets a work buddy, and it's a mentor. And the buddy is supposed to, I guess, fill in the gap from the leader who's like, I don't have time for your questions. Well, so he gets the assigned buddy, and he's setting up his computer, and he was asking about some options about the service, which ones, and he's going through some just basic sign-in stuff on his computer, and he's asking who you would think the person to ask. He's already been told by his leader, don't ask me any questions, and now he's got his work buddy, and he says, hey, buddy. I picture that's how that went. What do I do here? And the guy says to him, figure it out on your own. Warning sign of dumpster fire 2. Boss says, don't ask me questions. Work buddy goes, figure it out on your own. At what point are you going, this was a horrible decision. I'm out. I'd rather do Uber Eats than live in that environment. Nothing against Uber Eats, by the way. I just first thing that came to my mind. I'm offending everybody today. It's great. It's going to be a good show. So then he finally gets everything set up and he's in. And he begins to realize that most people on his team, this is a white-collar engineer job, are working on weekends, sometimes as late as 9 p.m. because of these very strict deadlines. So he's now noticing this. So then it goes into, he's like, I don't know if I can keep the schedule up. It's not what I signed up for. So then he realizes that because he couldn't ask any questions, everybody was expecting him to solve the problem by himself. It began to create this massive pressure, as it would on anyone, to not make a mistake. You've not been trained. You can't ask questions. You got to figure it out on your own. And because the pressure is so cooked up on this deal, he's like, if I make a mistake, and he got to the point where he lost all self-confidence in his ability to make a good decision. And so here's the point I share this story for. This is not just happening at Amazon. People are burned out, stressed out. And if you are in that situation and you have taken it to your leader to go, I need training. I need resources. I need time. Because, by the way, that's what we all need on a practical level. And if you raise your hand on that and they're so slammed, they're so burned that they can't help you, and it is just a fight to survive, can I just tell you, that fight is not winnable. So take your losses on the upfront, learn from this situation, look for it in the job interview, but you have to move on. It's not going to get better. In fact, it's only going to get worse. With each passing day, you get burned and burned and burned, and then it is not sustainable. So be aware. You made a bad decision. But be aware, you now know what to look for. The interview is just as much about you as it is them. Use it that way.